Hello. How is everyone doing today? We are live. Welcome to today's episode of Her Version. Cathy Spaz is here today, and she's actually going live on her Instagram also. So she is setting that up for her followers over there. Listen, this podcast, Her Version, is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello. One of my favorite things is when I see my guests dancing in the background to my intro. That is my fave. I'm so happy to have you here with us, Cathy. This podcast is built around storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories and their journeys. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Cathy Spaz. Cathy is a highly sensitive, lively, and passionate mother, wife, and horse girl. As a former elite international show jumper, Cathy is no stranger to the spotlight herself and the unique pressures faced by those ascending to the upper echelons of their profession. After suffering from a severe burnout in 2016, which she describes as her personal turning point, Cathy set out on a new path to help other highly sensitive people like herself create the life of their dreams and understand they can have massive career impact without sacrificing their health, relationships, or boundaries. That one's important. Cathy is here today to share her story and prove that despite your past, you can rise above and create a life full of limitless potential. Welcome, Cathy. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me. It's so much fun to be able to talk finally because we've been chatting forward and backwards a little bit behind the scenes, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. So, thank you for inviting me in the first place.
Thank you. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to sit with me. I know actually we talked a while ago and my podcast is booked out so many months ahead that we haven't had a chance to really like sit down and speak and sometimes when I sit down with people for the initial conversation, the connection that I have with them is just so strong. And there's only so much time. There's only so much time in every day, and we're both building our empires, and we're both shouting from the rooftops our messages, and sometimes it takes a second to come back together and regroup and continue to grow that community and collaborate and all that stuff. So how is your Tuesday? You said it's evening over there.
It's evening. We're in Belgium, so my son is finally in bed. I'm always so happy when it's that time of day when I can, finally relax and that thing is not thing, that part of my agenda is going to slow down a little bit. We were just chatting and I was telling you that this is so much fun for me to be able to be here and do this thing for myself, because to me working is something that really lifts my energy and that really brings me a lot of joy. So this is my happy place, so thanks.
Yes. There's always sometimes, a little ebb and flow that has to go with motherhood and entrepreneurship that we kind of have to like feel out, and it's different every single day, right?
Yeah, oh my god, it's such a roller coaster being a mom. And then after you had that first kid, you think, oh, we've got this stuff figured out, and then you get the second one and oh my god, sometimes I think I'm going to die. It's just it's heavy stuff. It's heavy stuff. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm a single single only child. So I'm now an 18-year-old. My son just turned 18 on March 19th. He's
Oh my
18. But I always wondered, I always wondered what it would be like to have multiples. It just didn't quite work out for me that way. But
God.
but it goes by so fast, and one of the things that I don't want to say I regret, because I love the fact that I've been able to give all of my time and all of my energy to one. There's always like the grass is greener on both sides, but realizing how fast it went by, it would have been nice to kind of have multiples that are still kind of hanging around, because just in an instant, that's it. Once my son probably turned like 15, 16, he started becoming I raised him to be very independent, but he, kind of took his mouth off of the boobies, I guess you could say, at age 15, and he starts creating his own identity. He starts hanging out with his friends, and it was a huge turning point. And then there was nobody to lean back on. It was just him. So enjoy it. I'm sure everyone tells you that, but enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can already see that with the second one, everything goes so much faster. It's
Wow.
like sometimes I think, oh my God, I'm missing out on so many things of her, because you just have to divide so
Yeah.
much more of your time and energy, and it's really hard because I don't want to take anything away from my son either, because I adore that little man. So it's, yeah, sometimes it's a little bit tricky to be the best you can be for both of them, and still for yourself and your partner as well, because otherwise you can really lose yourself in this process, I think.
A
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Well, listen, I would love to just kind of hand the floor over to you for a few minutes. I know that the individuals that are here watching are excited to kind of hear your story and your journey and where you've been through, as we kind of go through this podcast and some of the questions that we have in store for you. But I would love for you to just kind of give us an overview of, your background and, portion of your journey that you've had up to this point. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine. How much time have you got?
All the time you need.
No, that's okay. So, actually, to be honest, I grew up a horse girl. So, my father is in the horse industry. It's a business, and I grew up there as a child. I was riding international show jumping, and having a lot of fun doing that, but also losing myself doing that, because there was not so much space for error. So, and there was also not so much space for me to invent myself as a good rider. It had to be in a certain way, which I felt, because it was so pressured. I was so much pressured into a certain role. And I loved that role, but it wasn't matching with my identity, with who I was supposed to be. So I see this a lot with the artists I work with as well, because what happens is that you have someone who really enjoys what they do, but then at a certain point they lose everything about their passion, because you know it's just pressured into something that it was never supposed to be, and you lose all touch with the passion and the love and the joy that you started doing it with in the first place.
Wow.
So that is actually what happened to me as well. I am horseback riding again after my second C-section, so it took me a while, but I'm really happy to be able to ride again. But I have to be honest, I am also doing it in an entirely different way now. Horseback riding is not what it used to be. I still like to compete. I'm still aiming, if it is even possible, to do that again in an international level. We'll see how it goes, but without the pressure, just for the joy and the fun of it. And it's more about connecting and having fun and really being in the moment and building a relationship with my horse and growing together. I think it's about those things. And after giving birth to my both my children, I had to go through some challenging times because it was hard for me. I'm a very independent individual, and it was really hard to not be able to use my body in a way I wanted to use it because I was always driven and energetic and doing my own thing. And then at one point, I was shut down. I still am sometimes. So I have two sport horses, and this is my hobby now. So I don't do this for a living anymore. So now it's just okay, if my body feels too painful or too weak when I still have to do the second one, then the second one is going to be a different ride. It's just going to be a lot more relaxed. I'm only riding 2 times a week now. This has never ever happened to me before. It used to be 4 or 5, 6 times a week.
Wow.
So it's really about letting go and surrendering and tuning into what it is that my body and my soul need at this point. And I can tell you that to me, that's really hard sometimes because I'm very driven and passionate. And that means that sometimes it's hard to let go of control as well.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge that I've been working on the past few years. And it's been fun. It's been hard, but it's been fun because you get to see life in a completely different way too.
Mhm.
It's not just the person that you want to grow into, it's also who do you want to be? What is this life about to you? And I always used to think that doing nothing means you're being weak because, relaxing is for the weak. We have to
Yeah.
go and work and fight and be strong.
Yeah.
So when I was feeling bad, and I still think that sometimes it's possible that I still get confronted with this because it's hard for me to surrender to the fact that it's okay to be weak. It's not even being weak, but to the idea of being weak. And it's okay to surrender and to give into that without losing yourself
Yeah.
and staying in touch with yourself and reconnecting and reinventing yourself over and over again and just be and enjoy and have fun and let that light shine as much as you can, because I think that's the most important thing that we're here to do. And that's also something that my burnout a few years, I think it's 5 6 years ago,
Mhm.
taught me, because I was always very much focused on the negative and the hard things and what I had to do. And, life was quite heavy to me. And when I was stuck in my burnout, I had to start from rock bottom again, And sometimes when you're in a well, we would say in Belgium, literally translated, when you're in a well, the only way is up. And that rock bottom is at a different level for everyone else. But it was my rock bottom, and the only way was up. I was not willing to go down any further. So I started really focusing on the light, the things that bring me joy, positive energy, constructive self talk,
Love that.
because that was a really big one for me. I was the princess of bringing myself down. It was awful the way I could speak to myself.
Yeah.
And being mild and gentle and kind to yourself, I think that's probably the most important and hardest lesson that we get to learn here. But it's so important to be able to rise above the things that you feel stuck at. Because if we can't accept it, and if we can't be kind to ourselves regarding any issue in life, there's no way you can move forward from it, because that is the first necessary step.
100%.
Yeah, so that was something that I really had to learn, and it completely shifted my entire world by starting there and then taking so many steps and doing so many things to work on myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really happy that I was given this opportunity to be able to live and experience the situation, because I've also noticed that the things I experienced in my childhood and in these periods of time where life was rough on me, it was the biggest moment of insights for my clients as well, because it is by living the experience that you also can connect to the experience of your clients. And I do believe that, it's very important to have the foundation of the techniques, the strategies, and the proven exercises and tools. I use all of those as well. But I sense that in the coaching process with my clients, it's not so much about the techniques as it is about being able to get on their level, knowing exactly what they're talking about, knowing what that feels like, having lived that myself and grown out of it. And that is something that helps a lot of people, I've noticed. So I'm really happy that I was able to bring both sides to the party and do this thing that I love, where I can support artists, because I noticed that they feel very misunderstood in life and
Yeah.
very lonely. And that's the reason why I started focusing on this group of people, because I felt like an alien for a very large part of my life. Not, I mean, I had friends,
Mhm.
I was social, I was going out, but to be honest, I think I never felt like I really fitted in until I had found myself.
Oh,
And I think that's important. I want to be that welcome home for these artists so that they can find themselves and finally allow themselves to fully show up in life, because that's what I was missing. You can't go all out if you're not all in with yourself.
yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, that's the thing that I've been doing, and I've been really happy spending my time with. So, yeah, thank you.
Did you have to have any conversations with family? Because you notated that your like family, like your dad is into horses. So did you at any time have to sit down with him and have a conversation about kind of slowing down or no?
No, no, because I outgrew the fact that I needed his confirmation,
It's awesome.
because that was the thing that was holding me back my entire life. I was doing everything I did to get his confirmation.
Yeah.
But it's not until I took that step back away from him and his world towards myself. And it's not until I did that and fully started showing up for myself that I did not even have to have a conversation. Because once you resonate at a certain level, everyone else around you will start treating you in the frequency that you're resonating on.
Yeah.
So I started noticing that when I shifted my energy, he would treat me completely differently.
Wow.
So
How
that's what.
old were you? How long did it take for you to finally were you 20s, 30s,
Oh no, I think I was early 30s.
early 30s? That's awesome.
Yeah, and still sometimes, because there was still a situation in these past months where I thought, motherfucker, this is again this, and where I felt being mistreated, and where the situation wasn't fair. And being highly sensitive, we have a very high, I don't know the word in English perfectly, but sense of justice,
Yeah.
so things have to be correct, it has to be honest. We're very sensitive to that. And when I sense that things aren't being honest, or I'm being mistreated in a way that it's not correct, I get very sensitive on that. And there was a situation where this happened, and for sure, first you lose yourself in emotions. That's not, it's okay. It's someone close to your heart. It's normal that you feel disappointed, that you feel, again, it's triggered, that you weren't good enough in the past, and maybe you don't feel good enough again now. So for sure, I lost myself a little bit in that moment, and then but I reacted beautifully, if I might say myself, during the situation. And also afterwards, it was very interesting for me to be able to shift the perception that I was having on the situation. I still believe with all my heart that it's not correct,
Mhm.
but I can see it in a different perspective. I can see how this situation right now is making me, in Belgium we say put pepper in our ass so that we can start going like we're on fire again and create myself again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in this particular case. So to me, that was something that actually ended up being something beautiful as well, and connecting with my own strength and power again. Like I don't have to be dependent on anything or anyone else or their opinion or whatever. It's already, everything is good. It's okay. It's enough.
Yeah.
And we go from there, then that entire situation feels instantly a lot lighter. And that's when the relationship can evolve or grow to a next level. So there might still be a conversation to follow this up, because I do want to set boundaries. But there's also a sense of trust, because I also feel like, you know what, the universe has got my back. It's
I
not
love
against me, it's working for me. So
it.
I know everything will work out. And if not, I can still put my boundaries up when it presents itself.
Yeah.
Because being HSP, we tend to overthink everything. And in those situations, we already create a situation that is bigger than what is actually going on. You know,
Yeah.
we get to worry a lot and see, look in the future, because we're very good at anticipating.
Yeah.
But the downside of that is that we also do it in these negative circumstances.
Yeah.
So I stepped away from doing that and put a different light on it, and it's okay, we'll see what happens then, and I can still put the boundaries up if that's necessary then. And for now, let's just all have some fun and love and joy.
Yes. Let's
Feels like
have some
right?
fun. I agree.
Yeah.
That's great.